来電話する。無視なんだよ。
Please let's not forget to put our phones on silence. The commandant, sir. Shall we please remain standing while we recite the second stanza of the national anthem as our opening prayers at the count of 2. 1, 2. O God of creation, direct our noble cause, guide our leaders right, help our youth the truth to know, in love and honesty to grow, and living just and true, greatly to height attain, to build a nation where peace and justice reign. Amen. You may please be seated. The Commandant Nigerian Armed Forces Resettlement Center, Air Vice Marshal Charles O, Deputy Commandant Major General A.O. Agbola, Directors here present, Deputy Directors, Senior Officers, trainees and staff of Nafrc. Good afternoon. I am Lieutenant O.I. Padre, the Center Public Relations Officer. This afternoon, we are gathered here for the combined Padre Hour, and the sermon that will be preached to us today is morality of keeping promise and fulfilling commitments. And to do that for us is the Center Chaplain Protestant in person of Vice Lieutenant Reverend D.J. Moses. Please, can we have the Center Chaplain on the podium?
The Commandant, sir, permit me to adopt the already well-established protocol. I'm sure looking at the topic before us today, some people will begin to say, why will Chaplain choose this topic at this time? Permit me to say, we stand apolitical. The topic is not in that direction. Thank you very much. Once upon a time, when I was still a little boy, I remember Sunday my father was about to go out. And I said, Daddy, I want to follow you. All effort persuaded me to remain back behind. I refused. But what he did that made me to stay behind was that he gave me a promise. That when he's coming back, he knows what I like best. That he will bring it for me, and I was very happy. And I stood back. When my father was coming back, when I heard the words, my mind was not because my father is coming back, but my mind is on what I'm going to get. Unfortunately, when my father came, I saw him coming empty-handed. I could not even say, Daddy, welcome. My first question was, Daddy, where is the promise you made to me while you left just a while ago? And my father said, oh, my son, I was just joking. To him, it was a joke, but to me, I held it high tall. I said, how will my father promise me as a kid? So subsequently, if you promise you after that is how you feel the first time, you will not do it again. As a little child, I held that. I pray that after today's talk, we all shall fulfill promises. And therefore, we shall be talking about morality of keeping promises and fulfilling commitments. Keeping promises and fulfilling commitments to God and man is important in both personal and social life. Keeping promises is fundamental to building trust and maintaining healthy relationships, and it has implications for the well-being of individuals and society as a whole. The Quran has this to say in Surah As-Saff 61 from verse 2 and 3. I quote, O you believer, why do you say that which you cannot do? How despicable it is in the sight of Allah that you say what you do not do. Quran 2 verse 177 further buttress, and I quote, righteousness is not that you turn your faces towards the east or the west. The true righteousness is in one who believes in Allah, the last day, the angels, the book, and the prophets, and gives wealth in spite of love or peace to relatives, orphans, the needy, the travelers, those who ask for help, and for freeing slaves, and who establishes prayer and gives zakah. Those who fulfill their promise when they promise, and those who are patient in poverty and hardship and during battle. Those are the ones who have been true, and it is those who are the righteous. End of quote. On the other hand, the Bible in Numbers chapter 30 verse 2 states, and I quote, if a man vows a vow to the Lord, or swear an oath to bind himself by a pledge, he shall not break his word. He shall do according to all that proceeds out of his mouth. Matthew chapter 5 verse 33 also said, I quote, again, you have heard that it was said to the people of old long ago, do not break your oath, but fulfill the Lord's vow which you have made. End of quote. These quotations from the Holy Book illustrate the morality of fulfilling promises and commitments. It emphasizes the importance of being honest and trustworthy in keeping promises and fulfilling commitments made to God and to man. To have a better understanding of this topic under discussion, it is important to define these two key terms, which are promise and commitment. Promise is a pledge or assurance to do something, while commitment is a dedication to a particular course of action. Both of these involve making verbal or written statement to do something or act in a certain way, and both carry an expectation of trust and reliability. I take that again. Both of these carries an expectation of trust and reliability. It means trust and being reliable is being at stake here. The Quran emphasizes the importance of honesty and trustworthiness in keeping promises and fulfilling commitments. It is considered a moral obligation to fulfill promises made to God and to other people. And breaking a promise is seen as a breach of trust and a violation of one's moral duties. The Quran further encourages the fulfillment of obligation and emphasizes the importance of living up to one's word. The Bible also states the importance of being faithful and honest and keeping promises made to others. It teaches that one's word should be trusted and respected, and that breaking a promise is a serious matter. In addition, the Bible emphasizes the importance of making promises and commitment in accordance with God's will, and that one should only make promises that can be kept. let's look at the importance of keeping to promises and commitments. Some importance of keeping to promises made are but not limited to one, keeping one's word and fulfilling commitments build a reputation for reliability and trustworthiness, which is essential for healthy relationship and success in life. Two, fulfilling promises is seen as an important aspect of being a good believer and is considered essential for maintaining strong relationships with both God and man. Three, keeping one's word is a fundamental aspect of being a person of integrity and honor. Each time you keep your promise, you hold your integrity in high esteem. You are honored. When people see you, they know that you are a man of integrity, you are a man of honor, you are a man of such credibility. So whatever you say has credibility. They can believe you outrightly. Now, what are the consequences from not fulfilling promises and commitments? The consequences for not fulfilling promises and commitments include but not also limited to the following. One, breaking promises and failing to fulfill commitments can damage one's reputation and erode trust. Keeping promises and fulfilling commitments is a moral duty, and failing to do so is a betrayal of trust. Each time you make a promise to someone or to God, that person believes you and he trusts you that you will deliver of your promise. But once you fail, the trust is gone. The trust is being eroded. Two, breaking promises can make your partner consider you as someone who does not keep their words, which can damage relationships. True, it can damage your relationship. Three, trust is considered a fragile thing, and it can be tough to earn it again once you lose it. But four, it is a sin not to fulfill your promise. Ecclesiastes chapter 4, chapter 5, from verse 4 to 6a states, and I quote, "When you make a vow, do not delay fulfilling it. It has no pleasure in fools. Fulfill your vows. It is better not to vow than to make a vow and not fulfill it. Do not let your mouth lead you into sin." So when you fail to fulfill a vow, it is sin in the presence of God. Now, why is it that it is difficult to fulfill promises and to keep commitments? We all know that once you make a promise, it is actually difficult to fulfill them. At times, when you don't make a promise, you see yourself doing certain things that you're supposed to do. But once you utter it, you begin to see that you are struggling to fulfill them. Yes, to promise and fail is a disappointment. Sometimes promise and fail can come as a result of our erroneous decisions and refusal to hear from God. One of the reasons why we fail to keep promises and commitments is that unforeseen circumstances will also lead to promise and fail. Truth be told, you want to actually fulfill this promise that you have made. But before some unforeseen circumstances will just fall, and you won't know what to do. And maybe those circumstances that just came are more important if you prioritize. So what do? There will be need to fulfill that promise at that time. Human weaknesses can be a cause for not keeping to promise. No man is perfect. We are all weak in one way or the other. We are all imperfect beings. Despite our best intentions, we may fail to keep our promises due to our limitations, our weaknesses. How then do we overcome making unfulfilled promises? One, all you need to do is to be realistic. Before making any promises, evaluate your abilities and resources. Make sure that you can actually deliver what you are promising. You don't have the capacity, you don't have the resources, but yet you are making promises. You know, some people will say, I'm making promises based on faith. No, please, when you are making promises, ensure that you have the capability, the capacity, the resources, the wherewithal to be able to deliver. Because failing promises is very dangerous. Two, follow through. Once you make a promise, do everything in your power to keep it. If you encounter obstacles or unforeseen circumstances that prevent you from fulfilling your promise, communicate openly and promptly with the person you made the promise. As I've said earlier, unforeseen circumstances just crop up. What do? Immediately call that person you made the promise to. Sorry, I will not be able to fulfill these promises because of X, Y, Z. Or maybe I will be able to fulfill this promise partially because of this and that. 3, prioritize. Be selective about the promise you make. Don't promise that which you cannot keep, and don't overcommit yourself. Prioritize the promises you make based on their importance and your ability to deliver on them. 4, be accountable. Take responsibility for your actions and apologize if you are unable to keep your promise. Acknowledge the impact of your actions on the other person and offer solutions to make things right. 5, be honest. If you are not sure whether you can keep a promise, be honest and say so. It is better to be upfront about your intentions, about your limitations, than to make a promise you cannot keep. Some of us find it difficult to say, no, I cannot do it, because they are afraid of what people will say. It's better you say that, sorry, I cannot keep it, than for you to just, okay, let me just say it so that I will dismiss the person. It is not good for morality. And 6, ask God to help you fulfill each promise you make. Because as I said, once you make a promise, the enemy is there. That is when the enemy will come, because he knows that promises come with blessings. Once you fulfill your promise, there are blessings. The Bible says it's not of him that willeth, or of him that runneth, but of him that showeth mercy. If mercy is available for you, God will make a way for you. In conclusion, therefore, the act of making and keeping promises and compliment and commitment is seen as a reflection of one's character and integrity. The fulfillment of these promises and commitments is essential for personal growth and spiritual development. When we make a promise or commitment, we are making a sacred agreement with ourselves or with others. We are putting our word and our honor on the line. By fulfilling these promises and commitments, we show that we are trustworthy, we are reliable, we are responsible individuals. This helps us build stronger relationships with others and deepens our connection with our Creator. However, breaking promises and commitments can have serious consequences. It can damage our relationships, it can erode our trust, it can lead to feelings of guilt and shame. Therefore, it is important to make promises and commitments seriously and only make them when we can fulfill them. Thank you, sir, for listening.
Once again, shall we give the Reverend another round of applause? So we've come to the second segment of today's Padre hour, which is the period where we ask questions and make contributions. So with your kind permission, I will start by, okay sir, so I'll be starting from my right hand side. If you have any question, contribution, kindly signify by raising your hand. Your name and straight to your question or your contribution. 1 minute, please. Okay, then the first row by my right. Do we have any question or contribution to make? There's a hand over there.
The Commandant, sir. Standing on the existing protocol. My name is Master Warrant of Sandy George. Alpha Credit Company today. So my question will go like this. Jephthah went to war and promised that whatever comes out of his house, if victory is granted to him, he will sacrifice unto the Lord. And behold, it was his daughter. In this case, it was so difficult for him to actualize the promise. Will God accept such promise? Thank you.
Thank you. Next row, please. Any question? There's a hand in front here.
Commandant, sir, permit me to stand on the listening protocol. My name is Warrant Officer Muhammad Ibrahim. Really, my appeal goes to the Reverend has already said no need of repeating from the quotation from the Holy Quran and the Bible. What left for us now must be we senior citizens moving out of the job to carry such very cohesion of the two religions, how they are somehow the co-relationship within both sides to live together, develop our country. The differences we need to keep it aside, because even the son, your child, you may get different idea with him, which we need to accommodate each other with that. Please, I really appreciate of what the Reverend and the Imam are doing here, of the cooperation of the both religions for we to live together and develop our community. That's my own contribution.
Thank you. Last question from that room.
The Commandant, sir, please permit me to stand on the assistant protocol. My name is Master Warrant Officer David Efion. Yes, sir, I want to ask our man of God a question that, yes, it's good to promise, but I want to say, are there reasons, are there situations somebody can promise and then will not be able to fulfill? Are there circumstances that can make one, having promised, reject, will not be able to fulfill? If there are circumstances like that, how will the person approach the issue? Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Over to this column, please, for your question. There's a hand at the back. Give the hand at the back first. The one at the back first. The Commandant, sir, I request permission to stand on the existing protocol. My name is P.O. Staff Nurse, former Charlie Company trainee. Mine is a contribution. Based on what the Reverend taught us today, we learned that when a person makes a promise, the devil starts fighting so that the person does not fulfill the promise. Now, from this, I believe that is what is happening to our leaders in this country. After promising us, the devil will start fighting them, and they will not be able to fulfill all the promises. So, I'm suggesting that every one of us here comes together and we pray for the next leaders, the next president, and all those in leadership capacity. Let us pray for them so that whatever they promise us, the devil will not fight against the promise and they will be able to fulfill it. Thank you, sir. Thank you. The Commandant, sir, all protocol duly observed. I am FW Jebola OA. Promises are commitments and they require fulfillment. Someone said, people with good intention make promises, but only people with good character keep them. Promises means nothing without the power to enforce them. Some people make promises without thinking, thereby making promises they cannot keep. Some just to feel a sense of belonging. Some make promise they don't even mean. Some just to please others. Some make promise out of pride to prove to people that they are there. Some based on expectation, and when that expectation fails, they break their promise. Some promise out of careless talk without even knowing that they have made a promise. Making promise is cheap, but keeping promise is expensive. It may not cost you anything to make that promise, but it will definitely cost you something to keep it. Keeping promise requires a deliberate plan before, during, and after the promise has been made. To be a good promise keeper, you must be organized. Don't make promise impulsively. You must be motivated and dedicated to keeping your promise. You must be cautious to avoid over-promising, and you must be principled and sincere. If you keep breaking your promises, it will end you distrust, disrespect, disregard, dislike, and disconnection. But if you keep your promise
you will be trusted, you will be highly respected, you will be regarded. You will not only be liked, you will be loved, and you will be deeply connected. Therefore, remember to always keep all the promises that you make, and make only the promises that you can keep. Thank you.
Thank you. Next column for question contribution.
The commander, sir, permit me to stand on the existing protocol. I am Master Warrant Officer Oruru. Sir, the preacher have said there are some written promises, while some are verbal. And the armed forces, through the TACOS, have a written promise that the three arms sat together and dedicate that promise that they will operate at the same level. Why is it then difficult for the three arms to execute their promises equally? That is my question.
The commander, sir, I stand on all existing protocol. I am Sir Sergeant Gashi, a trainee of Delta Company. The preacher says in the book of Ecclesiastes 5:4, he said, when you make a vow to God, do not delay to pay it, for he has no pleasure in fools. Pay what you have vowed. It is better not to vow than to vow and not pay. First and foremost, I want to give an example with myself and our youth today. A young boy promised 5 days that come rain or shine, he would marry them. At the end of the day, what happened? Out of the 5, he did not marry any. Sometimes we stand on the pulpit and make vows to a whole congregation of people, masses. Say, if you elect me, in fact, I will build towers from here to my tomb. But at the end of the day, we don't fulfill those promises. The Bible said our God is a consuming fire, and at the same time, God is a merciful God. What is the solution, sir?
Thank you. Please come to the front. There's someone in front.
The commander, please permit me to stand on the well-established protocol. My name is Master Dr. Sanoma Abdullah, Delta Training Company. So, my question to the resource person. Yes, understand the fulfillment of promises. So, what is the implications of making the promises inward in your mind without pronouncement? Yes. What is the implication of you making the promise as intended without pronouncing publicly? Thank you.
Thank you. Please, this group.
The commandant, sir, permit my indulgence to stand on the existing protocol. My question goes to the referee.
Your name, please.
I am Master Warrant Officer Shafi Olatubos. My question is there a difference between vow and promise? Thank you, sir.
Thank you. So we'll now move on to Danjuma Hall for their questions and contributions, if any. Danjuma Hall.
The commander, sir, my name is MW Adnobatunde. My question is, what does the Holy Book says are the consequences of those who make promise and did not fulfill them, what did the Holy Book say is their punishment or consequences of making promise without fulfilling? Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Any other contribution or question from the Admiral Hall, please? In the absence of none, I'll now move on to the officers' cadre for questions, contributions from majors, equivalents, and below.
The Commandant, sir, permit me to stand on the already well-established protocol. I am Major Kem Abdul, the commanding officer, Ministry Department. Let me collaborate with the reference story. A classmate of mine visited his relatives' home. While there, after engaging into what conveyed him to the house, he was about leaving when a boy child heard his wrist, asking him to get him a shoe that he was wearing. The shoe happened to be this our service shoe. Now, my husband now promised him that inshallah, I'll get one for you. The boy started crying. Then the mother now says, he asked the mother, why is he crying? The mother told him that he believed that his father used to tell him whatever he promised him, he should tell him that inshallah I'll get it for you. And when he comes back, he'll come back from empty-handed. So, the implication of promise and unfulfillment of that promise led to the mind not believing whatever somebody tells you about. And the child will grow up with that. That aside, promising is intertwined with lying and a trust that is bestowed on somebody, and that person decided to dip his fingers into the trust. That the Prophet ﷺ mentioned that a hypocrite is that one that when he talks, he lies. When he promises, he does not fulfill the promises, and also when endowed with trust, he mistrusts that trust. That makes one to be a complete and a standard hypocrite. For one not to fulfill his promises, he is getting towards becoming a liar. And once somebody is a liar, he becomes mistruster. Let me use that word. Finally, we all had our patriotic commissions for officers. We all had our letters of employment or letters of offer. And in those letters or patriotic commissions are some guidelines. These guidelines tell us what to do and what not to do. If we go by that, we are completing the promises that we took between us and the government. But if we fail entirely and we become promise unfulfillers. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Any other questions from major, equivalent, and below?
The commandant, directors, senior officers, senior citizens. I am Squadron the Eastern West, the officer in charge of pharmacy. Sir, what I want to say, I think the trainees will be the ones that benefit most from it. I want to tell them that keeping promise and fulfilling commitment enhances prosperity in business. And it also promotes honesty and trustworthy, which are essence of living itself. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. So I'll now move on to Lieutenant Colonel and equivalent, sir, for any question or contribution.
The commandant, sir, permit me to start. I am Commander NN Adeyemi, the SO1 personnel. I'll need clarification on an issue on the topic here today. Sometimes all of us might leave this place and go to our individual congregations where we worship, but sometimes we are being compelled by our pastors to make contributions to the church, whereby we have not voluntarily made those vows and commitments. I want to ask, in such cases, how do we manage it so that we do not make promises and fail them? Thank you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Now, so I'll move on to deputy directors for your questions or contributions, if any. In the absence of none, I'll now call on the clergymen to respond to most of the questions being asked. Clergymen.
The Commandant, sir, permit me to dwell on the already established protocol. We really do not have plenty questions here, but the few ones I have here, I will attempt to respond to them. Someone asked about the difference between vows and promise. Now, vows most times would have to do with you and the supernatural, and vows has a binding, influence that once you make a vow, you are binded by this vow or the words that you have proclaimed or what you have said you will do. So you cannot go against your vows. It is very, very strict and serious. So if you are not sure of making a vow to your God or a vow to your God, please, it is better you don't make it at all. So that is what I will say on that one. Solution. Why is it difficult to fulfill promises? Someone asked in regard to 3 services. I think there are factors that will make someone not to fulfill a promise. In as much as we know that it is serious, there could be reasons that certain promises will not be fulfilled. And with time, especially when it has to do with an organization or an institution, sometimes that some of these promises also come with clauses. And again, the superior power that makes a promise might have some certain reasons that will make it not to immediately fulfill that promise. So when the promise is coming from up to down, you may not expect it to be fulfilled at the time that you want it. And also the promise or the vow made by Jephthah. Now, Jephthah fulfilled that vow eventually in Judges when he made a vow to God. But then Jephthah was not happy when he saw that his daughter was the one. Now, if you want to be true to yourself or you want to be truthful, whatever promise you make, at the point of fulfilling such a promise, there is definitely something that is going to touch you in your mind. When you promise to give someone money, oftentimes at the point of redeeming that promise, you will also have some needs, and you still have to go ahead and give that money to the person. Sometimes you feel a little bit of difficulty giving out the money, but because you've made a promise and you are a man or woman of virtue, you want to remain and keep to your vows or your promises, you decide to give that money. Sometimes you even need the money and you decide not to do certain things for yourself because you want to fulfill a promise you made to somebody. So Jephthah had that difficulty, but the fact is that Jephthah still went ahead and fulfilled that promise, as difficult as it was. Remember, of course, when Abraham was to sacrifice Isaac, he had such challenges and he went along the line and God showed his face. So I think that Jephthah still fulfilled what he promised to do or what he promised before God. So again, it is important that we promise what we can fulfill. So, and as Reverend said, sometimes when you cannot be able to fulfill exactly what you have promised, there is nothing wrong with letting the person know, please, with the present condition, please, I cannot be able to fulfill this again, but I will give you this. This is what I can afford for now. I think that will also help so that we do not end up lying. The problem we have most times is that we rather lie than actually promise. With the promise we are making, we know that we are lying. We are not going to do it. And so that is where the problem is. Sometimes the promise is to discharge the person or let the person go, and then you make the promise, and at the end of the day, you will not fulfill it. But if you make up your mind to fulfill it, definitely you will. Now, advice. I have one particular advice for our senior citizens. Now, when you retire back home, a lot of people, your families and environment will be expecting so much from you. They feel that you are coming back with money. Retired soldiers now, they have money. That's what they say in the village. So a lot of them will come to you, they say good things, and you may end up making promises to them. So you have to also be very careful when you make such promises, so that you will not put yourself in a tight corner. Promise what you can fulfill. And Madam asked about the compulsion. There's one person else. About compulsion from pastors in churches to people to make promise in the church. Now, I think that is very wrong. It shouldn't be a compulsion. It should be a personal choice. This is what the church needs, for instance. And somebody, if you have the money, you come out. Now, sometimes the person might not force you to come, but the way the person will say it, in your mind will be struggling as if you do not come out, you are no longer a Christian. That is wrong. But then, whatever you do in your church, it is between you and your God. You don't even need to announce it. You can decide to put it in the envelope and go and drop it on the altar. You will see it that somebody has given. So, oftentimes we try to show ourselves, even in the church, that I'm a big man and I give big money. That is why we have this challenge that as soon as the pastor says something and you jump up, and you just come out to come and give, and you even give testimonies and all of that. And when you go back home, you start feeling bad that you give the money in the church. So please let us don't feel bad when the pastor talks about money. Even if you have and you are not ready to give now, it is not a sin. When you are ready to give, make sure you give out of your mind and do not grumble about it. Thank you very much.
The Commander, permit me to stay down on the existing protocol. As someone asked, what is the consequences for making promise without fulfilling? As I've said earlier, to make a promise is to fulfill a promise is sin. And what is the consequences for sin if you don't repent? Thank you. What is the implication of making promise in your heart without fulfilling? You cannot seek God. All of your being is made by God. Even the hair of your head, God can count them. So when you make a promise in your heart, it's even a vow, because nobody hears you. It's between you and your God. So you are duty bound to fulfill it, but God sees your heart. Men may not see, but God sees. He's the rewarder of them that does what you want them to do. And finally, he said, what do we do when a pastor forces us to make a promise? When a pastor forces and you make a promise, that is no longer a promise. Because a promise is made at your own will. It is you. So even if I come and I compel you, I say, do this promise, I cannot put the words in your mouth. I wait for you. But some people, when they come, they want to show up, as the Reverend Pastor said. You know you don't have the ability. Please, don't do that. Don't do that. Promises made voluntary. At any time there is a need, is an opportunity for you to be blessed by God. You don't even wait for people to tell you when you see the need in the box or you see the need in the church. When you are walking in the road, you see somebody that have a need. You don't need to be told when you have the spirit of discernment. You just go ahead to her. And as we do, God will bless us. Thank you, sir.
Shall we once again give the Reverend Fathers another round of applause? Sadis, Dr. May I respectfully request the directors for their contributions, sir.
The commandant, sir, deputy commandant, directors, senior officers, senior citizens, ladies and gentlemen. Initially, I did not want to talk, but during the course of the response by the chaplain, I felt the urge to talk on two things. Number one, it just occurred to me that this particular topic has much relevance to the director of training because I'm training tailors, mechanics, and carpenters. And those are category of people that like breaking promises more often than not. So please, I want to urge you in the name of God, when you go out to establish your tailoring firms, your mechanic workshops, and your carpentry workshops, and so on, please make difference. Let them know that you are members of the armed forces, because once a soldier, always a soldier. Please don't go and join the clique of those carpenters who don't fulfill promises. Make difference, please. Number two, there's someone raised an observation. I'm not defeating the men of God, but I want to take a digression. You know, this environment is a peculiar environment, it's a military environment. Now, when you are in town, where you have churches and mosques in town, where you don't know the sources of income of people you come, sometimes when there's need in the church, you say, okay, donate according to your will. But this environment where if you receive handshake from Madam, everybody knows what to collect. Then we need to do something to help somebody. There's a need, somebody's daughter is sick or she needs admission. It does not have the oil door. We know that everybody has received 25,000 naira from the church, for instance. And when we come, we say we should not tell you what to do, we should not allow you to give us 20 naira. Are we beggars? Now, like, we'll tell you from so and so donate this. It's not compulsion, it's not that we're making you, we know what to have. It's not as if in town that we don't want to. So some of these things, when you see the pastors and the man say, if you have this movie, we appreciate from 100 naira down, or you can give up to 1 million. Don't start grumbling. So many of them start grumbling that they collect their money and they cannot pay for. Me, I don't always subscribe for that, and I always say they must pay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, sir. Is there any other contribution from the directors? May I respectfully request the deputy commandants for his contribution?
I always like us as Nigerians that we are. Our resilience and always finding a way around things. The preaching this afternoon has been about you must fulfill your promise. You must not fail. You must. A lot of us are already thinking, how do we circumvent this? That was why somebody came up and said, what about promise in your mind? So I keep wondering why issue of promising in the mind. And one other thing about promise that I've discovered lately with the situation where I found ourselves is you must understand with the person making that promise. Like those of you that promise money, it's not that I'm not fulfilling the promise. MTN has been the devil. I think one madam talked about so when you go to church on Sunday, pray against pray for improvement of MTN so that I can fulfill my promise to you too. The Commandant, sir, directors, gentlemen, I also want to create indulgence for everybody to stand on the already well-established protocol. I think today's topic is very germane and a nice one, particularly the way the director of training has rounded it up. Most of the things we do here is in the interest of our senior citizens, the trainees. I was also thinking that I used to see this WhatsApp messages about that most tailors will not make heaven. So I cannot understand why most of the trainees are not going towards the tailoring shed. Who find a way to circumvent that, to encourage them that they will still make reverend maybe on Sunday. I assure them that they will make heaven so that we can have tailoring trainees. Gentlemen, as it is and has been presented by the Padre, the issue of keeping promise is very, very important. It's as important as it has been presented. In the past, in the olden days, keeping promise is taken so serious that whenever you promise somebody something, they ask you to cross your heart. Crossing the heart then means a place of shooting, aiming, so that if you fail to fulfill that promise, it will be bow and arrow towards that person. So it has been as serious as much as far back then. Like it has been said, if you don't keep promise, nobody will take you for your word. Your integrity will be in doubt, and you will hardly be entrusted with anything really. Even biblically, God himself knows that sometimes it might be difficult keeping promise, and that's why he said, you must not swear in vain. So that even if you promise and you are not able to fulfill it, after all, I have not swear, then it might be suddenly review. And in the Bible too, religious-wise, you see most times that God gets annoyed with human. It's mainly when we fail to fulfill our promise with him. Most of us, maybe when it's exam time, you promise God, look, if I can just pass this exam, I will do this, I will do that. But most often, as soon as you pass, the first thing you go for is celebration, bam, and give you one big shout. You forget about the thanksgiving you have promised and how you have promised God that you will change your ways. So God really wants us to fulfill promises once it's made. He has never done with it himself, and most times when he's punishing us for one thing or the other, particularly the chosen people of Israel, then he will mention it that I have fulfilled my promise to your father, your forefather, to you, but you have done this, then he will now bring out the punishment. So keeping promise is as important as our Padre has put it. No, the time has been passed, and we need to go to the mosque. So I just want to thank our Padre for this choice of topic and the painstaking research that has been done, putting so many verses in the Bible and in the Quran. And from the number of questions during the interactive session shows that we all understand the topic very well. And I can see in our faces that our promise, is it a promise, vow, or which of them, that we will fulfill our promise whenever we make them. So, on that note, I want to beg us to continue to fulfill our promise so that we continue to be persons of integrity that work with salt and pepper. It's Friday, Jumat Mubarak to our Muslim colleagues, and happy weekend ahead to all of us. Thank you for listening.
Thank you so much, sir. Sir, I most respectfully request the Commandant for his comments. The Commandant, sir.
The Deputy Commandant.
Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. When the deputy commander was coming, I saw him tearing a lot of papers. And I said, 6 pages, he said, no, sir. But you promised you are not going to read all, you read all. First of all, I want to appreciate the IT department for making that human hall to be part of this event. We started by struggling. They promised they would do their best. How did they do their promise? Clap for them, please. And that's how it should be. Madam Ajibola has summed up everything concerning this panel. I don't want to repeat it because I always say that if you can't live here by 1300, so I won't want to keep you more than that, so I can also keep my promise. When you say I will, is it a promise? When you say I will try, is it a promise? When you say I will look at it, is it a promise? When you say I will see what I can do, is it a promise? God bless you.
Let's all be seated, please. So, at about 1300 hours in February 2023, a soldier from the medical department in person of Corporal Michael Shola, while using the ATM at Oshodi, observed a civilian by name Olajide Bakari, 26 years old, putting on the